All right, everybody, and we're back for another
Oh, you are
episode
loud in my
on
ear.
Godly Table Talk. Of course, I have a dynamic individual of faith, and we're just going to have a little conversation today about serving God as a male.
As a male.
Doot,
A
doot, doot.
dynamic individual of faith. What?
On my Lanta. So, y'all know what we're going to do, right? We're going to pray, and then y'all already know who he is. Jeremy, you already know who he is, okay? We're going to talk, we're going to pray, we're going to talk, and then we're going to get down to that team. All right, here we go, Jeremy. You ready?
I don't got no teeth. I got coffee.
God, we just thank you for who you are, Father. God, we give you praise, glory, and honor. God, rest here, dwell with us, Father. Help someone. Jesus, save someone. God, thank you for Godly Table Talk. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, Nathaniel, as
Yes,
Jeffrey likes to call you.
she. Dad, and you know what's funny about that? He changed my name to begin with, but wants to call me Nathaniel now. I was supposed to be Nathaniel originally. Tell the whole world, bro. Jeez.
Okay. So, Jeremy, like a lot of people, a lot of young people, sometimes they can like go to church,
hmm
go back, come back, go back. Like, how,
hmm
as a young man, you're 28, you'll be 29 this year. How do you stay forward in your faith when serving God? Because it's not easy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get tested, you get
Yeah.
tried, you go through the fire. The Bible talks about the fire. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all those things are true. Testing, Revelation talks about it. All through the Bible, you see the prophets get tested. Life gets really hard. So, how do you keep your faith?
It's
Honest.
not a
Okay.
me keep my faith, it's a God keeping my faith,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. There's certain things that like certain turmoil, certain things that I ask for, certain things of my wants, and and emphasis on my wants, not my needs or what God needs me to do. That God gives, provides, that keeps me afloat, right? That keeps me at like a base level of faith, right? Of course, like I would say, like I think I have pretty high faith, and there's certain things that I'll ask God for throughout the year, or for example, this year is to double all like my savings and investments, all the above, right? So, and I can see it. I'm already on track from work and certain things in my life. There's already like certain things I can see that's already on track to get that done. So having like a certain wants
Mm-hmm.
given by God
Mm-hmm.
allows me to step forward in faith heavier and stronger and more willing to step in faith. Because at the end of the day, if God is already providing a certain base level,
Mm-hmm.
then why not take the ship further?
That makes a lot of sense. It was hard when I had to admit. I had to admit this year that all right, God, maybe I don't have a firm foundation, and
Mm.
in that, God really showed up in my life and showed me how to make him a firm foundation. So my question to you is, because you constantly keep faith. Like, I have to really give that to you. Like, from a young child, when you prayed over the air conditioning and it came back on till now, like, how do you keep your faith grounded? Because I mean, you're a man, so come from like a male's ex, what's the word?
Experience,
Yes, coming
experience,
from a male perspective, what
perspective.
um like, how do you how do you stay strong? Because a lot of men, they go here, they go here, they go here. Like, how do you keep your faith?
Consistency. I think having a schedule of things. For example, like me reading my word every morning, me thanking God every morning that I'm waking up, like a certain level of consistency with my own habits, daily habits. Listening to 10 minutes of gospel music in the morning, having those random songs of worship in your heart when you was a child, singing them at like random times and stuff when they're in your heart. Um, there's just certain things like it's hard for me to explain it, but once again, it all kind of goes back to that base level of faith that I already have.
Mhm.
I've kind of already hit dirt to be honest with you, right? When I broke my ankle, that was a very low point in my life. It probably was the lowest point in my life. And a lot of things happened mentally that I never really spoke about. That I had to heal with from and deal with. And from there, that the fact that I rebounded from that such low level,
Mm,
personally, there's nothing else like I cannot do. Because a lot of people will be there and get stuck there. A lot of people will do what I'm doing right now and will feel like they're stuck, and will be depressed about it. And I, at one point, I was depressed about it. And there were certain changes. People like, oh, you need therapy. There was just certain things that I just needed to do, period. And that was building back up that consistency with me seeking a relationship with Father, not just
mm.
me wanting a relationship with God, but actually seeking and moving forward in that to actually attain a better relationship with God. And through that attainment also came the faith.
Consistency.
Consistency.
I think that's the worst part about being like this fleshly suit. Sometimes our flesh be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get up at 5:30.
True. True.
I want to read my word. I'm tired today. I don't even, if you can't even be consistent in working out, you really gonna struggle being consistent with God. Okay. I tell you that now.
In my opinion, I think it's easier to be consistent with God than it is in the gym.
Really?
Oh, the gym beats you up, bro. What? The gym ain't for the faint
I
of
mean,
heart. If you really want like a certain body and certain goals, you got to go after it and chase after it. And
that
it's
might
more
be,
than just outside the gym. It's with your diet as well, and that's even harder to control a healthy diet when you're constantly on the move and busy.
that's it's hard. I try for work. It's hard. You might be right. It is easier for me to dwell with God than it is for me to go to the gym.
Yeah, you can lay in the bed and do it with Jesus. Can't lay in the bed and lose weight.
Unfortunately, it would be nice. It would be nice.
But
So,
that's the thing though with I'm sorry.
go ahead. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing though with God. Everything that you want, there has to be a 50-50. I.e., I wanted to double my savings investment, yada yada. So guess what that means? I got the money that God has given me, the more money he has given me, the more money I need to put away. Like there's no just, oh, I have more money, blow it more. No, it's more that I have to be tactical with it. I have to have
Mm.
financial security, have to learn that, right? So there's certain things, trials and tribulations I've been going through my whole life to get to this point of now I'm finally really stacking it and bringing in the money for real. So,
Like how
but
you said,
that's
trials and tribulations. Like the word says that with all that getting in an understanding, it's very important. And I've learned, you know, through my 2023 and now here I am 2024, that that's a very important aspect of your life. You have to gain understanding because God can give you $1 million. If
mm-hmm.
you don't understand wealth and how to spend it, what are you going to do with that $1 million? So it's
True.
part of that is it's learning, and it's very important that you grow in your faith, grow in your righteousness, grow, just constantly grow,
Grow.
you know.
Though you will start to die when you stop growing. It's a biologically thing. At a certain age, your telomeres on the end of your DNA, and this is super scientific, starts to decay, starts to degrade, right? And the lower your telomeres get, the more high chance you have like having getting cancer or like DNA breakdown and stuff like that. So then you become a smaller person. You begin to die, right? Same thing in anything. Like if you don't use it, you lose it. If you do decide not to grow in an area where God has blessed you in, it will slowly decline. I felt like once I told you this at the beginning of the year, I felt like I was leading. I was no at the end of last year. I felt like I was losing my leadership capability. I felt it. I felt it like physically. So there's certain. So now I'm in a leadership role where I have to practice it daily. There's consistency in
Mm-hmm.
everything. And at the first 3 months of this year, when I was fasting, I prayed for consistency, productivity, and discipline. With those
Consistency,
three things,
productivity, and discipline. You actually pray for those three things.
yeah,
Wow.
every day for 3 minutes.
Because y'all heard that right. Consistency, productivity, discipline. I
Those
mean,
three
you really
things
have to
take you
be,
far.
I mean, to fast like Jesus was fasting. We talk about the Daniel fast. We talk about Jesus' time in the wilderness. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
those types of fasts. And if you think about it, they have to be consistent,
You have to be
productivity.
disciplined. Through consistency and discipline comes productivity.
Wow.
That's when things really start to change.
Ooh, ooh. Sheesh.
I'm just saying. Think
That's,
about it.
I mean,
Everything
that's
that
it. That's a
happens,
good point.
everything that happens in the spiritual world can reflect in the human world, right? For example, we was talking about working out, exercising.
Mhm.
What do you get? What produces the best results? Consistency and discipline. You being consistent enough to go to the gym, disciplined enough to eat right.
Mm, you
What do you get? A summer
consistent,
body.
right? And if
If
you're
you want
consistent
strong,
in prayer and you want to grow in grace and you want to obtain from God and you want to hear His voice more, and you got to go seek His presence, and that's consistency and discipline. You got to get up at 5 a.m. If you know the gates open at 6 a.m., okay, I got to get up at 6 a.m. Let me go pray. Like it's certain things and certain rules that you have to abide by in order to be successful. So yeah, yeah, I agree. You're right. You're very right.
I'm young but I'm wise, baby.
Not the guns, okay? Who are you shooting? Shoot demons? Like, what are you
Yes,
doing?
exactly. There you go.
Oh, pow
Woo.
pow, okay?
I got in
Got you.
trouble in elementary school for sticking up my middle finger because my friend did it. You
So
know, I stuck in my hand like that too. That was funny. Go ahead.
how is it in dating?
With what? God and dating?
Yeah, how do you forge?
Okay. So if
We
you would
live in
ask
an
me,
age, and I'm at this week. So we live in an age where a lot of people don't believe in Jesus.
if you, so a lot of girls like to call themselves. It's not just women. Some people, period. But of course, in my experience, women have called themselves
Uh
spiritual, which has multiple meanings.
huh.
So I always be like, what does that mean? So it's a very like, usually if a girl like, okay, I'll ask a question. Oh, I'm a man of faith. Yeah, y'all, I'll dig into that. Y'all, do you have, do you believe anything in your higher power? Right? Super easy talk, softball question. I'm not even throwing it in your face. Do you believe in Jesus? No, I'm asking, do you have like any faith or do you believe in a higher power? Right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them be like, oh yeah, I believe in a higher power, but it's not like I'm Christian or anything. I'm just more spiritual. I'm like, explain spiritual, and they'll go like, there's girls who be having crystals around their neck and on their bracelet, be having the Bible on their dresser, but with the what is it called? What are they called? Those cards, tarot cards on top of the Bible.
Jesus.
The yeah, that one was funny actually. I laughed so hard. Yeah, spiritual.
They just dibbling down on everything.
Hey, that's their choice.
Let me explain this to everybody out there, okay? Jesus said, I am what? I am the way, the truth, and the light. Okay? No one gets to the Father but through me. You got to get to know Jesus. I'm telling you.
My issue was my issue was the fact that you had tarot cards on top of the Bible, not even underneath it. Like why you had to put it on top of the
You should
Bible?
have that up.
We
What
could
you
talk about it like if it was underneath the Bible, but now you're putting tarot cards over God. Like that's my issue. Like that's God should be first. Tarot cards second. Like you know what I mean?
need for?
Help me help you.
I mean,
Help
in
me.
actuality, how many people, in all sincerity, I mean, count me in this, how many people do you know actually serves God and puts him first in all that they do?
Mom.
Okay.
On
So
a consistent basis. On a consistent basis. I'll tell you one person.
who?
Mom. Every day we put if I call her, just high blessed and highly favored, and then like I gotta do this.
She
Mom's always
does.
talking about I gotta do this. I gotta move in God's will. Every day, every time you call Mama, God's will. Every day, she don't try to. She
And
don't do nothing outside of her will. I promise you. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
now the question is, and imagine how long it took her to get there.
It took her forever. Oh wow, my earbud just popped on me. I'm sorry. It took her forever to get there. Years. I think. I mean, took a divorce. It took her going to her lowest point.
The lowest of the low, right?
I mean, yeah. When you hit that low point multiple times, man, it's tough. And they like keep rebounding from it, it's tough. At one point, mine literally was taking care of a family of six.
Mm, with no
Hey,
money.
you got nothing but to like. Hey, you could lean on one person in that situation, and nobody else was trying to help her for real.
That's a reality. So so back to my original question, like how is it dating and serving God? Like how is
I,
it? Like when
I
God tells you to walk
mean,
away from that girl, you like, dang God, she like, how is it?
once again, there's like that's when like discipline becomes a play of things, right? You could be consistent reading the Bible every day while you're dating a young lady. You could read the Bible in front of her, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to change her. But then the discipline aspect comes in when it's time for you to like step away from a situation or to not speak to a young lady or to not lust after you, a lot of women or them lust after you, like the ones that come and try to touch on you and feel on you. Those type of discipline, that discipline kicks in heavy. You got to walk away from certain things. You got to like, no, I'm good. You got to get used to saying no. And
Mm,
women hate it when you tell them no.
really?
So it makes Micaiah, you don't like being told no.
I don't like being told no because most of the time I'm right.
Most women don't like being told no, and that's a given
I
fact.
don't I
Period.
don't I don't like being told no because most of the time I'm right. But here's why.
Micaiah,
There's a
Micaiah,
kicker though to why
Micaiah.
some of the times I'm right. When you tell me no and I know like no, I'm right, it's because I went to God, got on my knees, fasted and prayed to receive that answer. And I know for God is not a man, for he shall not lie, nor the son of a man that he shall not change his mind. Or if
You
he said
don't like it when I tell you no when you ask me for money.
that's not true.
That's what I'm talking about. You be like, well, it's not that bad actually. But you don't like it when I tell you no about certain things, though. That's a fact outside of God.
Maybe it's a woman's nature. I don't know.
It's a woman's thing, man. Y'all don't like being told no. I'm not saying no about
Yeah,
certain
because
things with God.
we're the prize. I think as women we have gotten away from the reality that we are the prize. We are the
Okay, why
golden
can't
ticket. We are how you get to the Wonka factory. Okay, we are the chocolate. Y'all out there, we are the prize. We have
why
forgotten
can't men be
our
prized,
place
Micaiah?
and have
Why can't
forgotten our role.
why can't men be prized, Micaiah?
Show me that in the Bible.
I'm not saying it's not in the Bible. I'm not saying it is in the Bible. What
Uh,
I'm saying is, why can't men be prizes?
show me that in the Bible.
Why can I be a prize, Micaiah?
Show me that in the Bible.
Why can I be a prize, sister?
Husbands, love your wives as
That's
Christ
true.
loved
I
the church.
love my wife.
Alone, I didn't get to finish. Love your wives as Christ loved the church and did what? Gave his very life for it. Do you know what that
I
means?
give my life. I give my life for my
Hold
wife.
on. Do you know what that means? That means you
I listen.
sacrifice. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. You sacrifice. You die. I don't. You do. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his very life for it. Please go ahead.
No. What is wrong? There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. You're
Mhm,
absolutely correct. A man is supposed to sacrifice. A man, a father who loves his wife is supposed to sacrifice certain things. That's
mhm.
just a given, it's a fact. But
Weren't you the one that said if a husband knows how to love his wife properly, she will sacrifice as well? She would die as well.
so that's what I was
Oh,
coming to. Then, in order for a man to continue sacrificing, a woman also needs to understand the worth that her man is.
what
A
does work
woman,
have to do with
a work,
price?
okay, I'm
Mm,
getting there.
okay,
I'm getting there. Okay,
by all means.
I'm getting there. No, what I'm saying is
Mhm,
basically, there's a certain class of women who go after a certain class of men. If I'm doing XY, let's say I'm working 40, 50 hours a week, or 50, 60 hours a week.
Mhm.
I take good care of my children.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, when I say good care, I'm actually involved in their lives, paying for most of the things in the house, making sure the house is good, cutting the yard, all this X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
Then there's a certain level of value that's in that man. Yes or no?
Oh, I agree. But you just did a key factor that a lot of men have gotten away from, which is what? Taking care of their homes.
That's fine. But what I'm trying to say is when there's a level of sacrifice and willingness on my end, there should be a level of sacrifice and willingness on the young lady's end.
But see, that's the thing. That's not the word.
That's
There's no level. You die. You give the ultimate sacrifice. You say that there's a level. There's no level. You die. You
how is there not
automatically
a level?
do it. There's not a level. For I mean, did God give a level? Did he say, okay, Jesus, you're gonna have to die today, you gonna not you gonna
That's
okay,
not the
the
same as
land.
what we're talking about. You bringing in Jesus and him sacrificed on the cross. It's not the same thing
But
we're
that's
talking about in this situation.
but did we just not just say the word, right? You said I agree with the word. The man has to sacrifice. Did you not just say that?
Men have to okay, but you bringing in Jesus'
Hold
death.
on, but what does
Men
the
ain't
word
dying like
say?
Jesus on the
Ephesians,
cross.
husbands, love your wives as
Like
Christ
Jesus
loved the church.
loved the church, not died on the cross.
As is two things in comparison. Let's go back to English 101. As is
Good,
two
please.
things. So
I'm not saying it's not, but
love
you
your
said
wife as
wife,
Christ loved the church
church,
gave
not as Christ died
and gave
for
his very
our
life for
sins.
it. That's death.
That's church, not our sins.
That's death. You
Okay, church.
die.
Okay, church is at the
Let me
home,
tell you,
correct?
let me tell you something, and I do agree with you. There takes an equal part of dying on both sides from the husband and the wife for the marriage to be successful. Both of you guys
Why
need.
are we using the word dying?
You know what I mean? What else would you? How would else would you describe that whole line that Paul wrote in Ephesians? How would you describe that?
I wouldn't use word dying. Dying in
And
today's
gave
language,
his
dying in today's
for
language,
for it.
people would consider it death.
You died, Jeremy.
Dying means multiple things. Parts of you dying, old ways of you dying, you changing your ways, you sacrificing things. Certain parts of my life, like me wanting to play Xbox all the time, that's a certain part of my life that's going to die when I have children. You dig what I'm saying? So
Children, when
you
you get
use
married, it's farther than children.
okay. So once again, let's not use the word dying though.
As
For
Christ
people who is watching this and
gave
who
his
are new to Jesus, let's
and
not use the word dying. Dying is a
gave his
very strong.
and gave his very life.
I'm trying to help you and your people and your followers, and you're not trying to listen.
And
Not
gave.
everybody understands dying in the Bible has
So let's
multiple
so let's
definitions.
so let's talk about it then. You already
what,
know how our family table could go. So we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's put the tea on the table. Okay? Okay.
what tea is on the table?
Jeremy, as somebody who has actually done it and has actually gone through it and now going through something else, I honestly can say in marriage, you need to die.
I'm not okay.
It's
The
not,
word
you have
dying.
to die to your flesh. You have to die to your soul, and you have to let your spirit man come alive. Because if you don't die, and let's look up, I want you to look up the word in Google in dictionary of death and what it truly means. But because when you die as Jesus and gave his very life for it, you also are resurrected as what? Something else.
I get what you said. I'm trying to help you and your people. Dying is a strong word. When people hear die, people run away. When people hear death, they run away. So let's not use the word
Maybe,
dying
maybe,
in
maybe
this
people should
instance.
run away from marriage because it's not a
No, no,
game.
no, no, no. What I'm doing
Not
is
a
trying to
game.
bring people to Jesus, not run away from marriage. I'm not even discussing dying in that manner. Marriage is not a game, no. But it's our job to get married and to have children. Okay, that is a part of our job on this
I agree. It
planet.
is. It's our job.
So gotta die. Let's say sacrifice to these people. But in reality, sacrifice means what? something has to die anyway. But that's our secret. Once again, sacrifice. You have to
I mean, even when they
sacrifice.
sacrifice the lamb, I mean, Jesus is called
Makai,
the Lamb of God.
let's stop.
I don't,
I'm trying to help you, okay?
I don't
Bring
need
new people into the church, okay? Godly table talk. We got to change our words around to not scare people out of the church,
no, for
okay?
real. Like, in all sincerity, Jeremy,
Yes, I understand everything you're saying. I want to help you and your followers get to a
I
better.
love my followers. Thank you, Godly Table Talk. But I would do a disservice because on the description of our thing, we keep it real.
We do keep it real,
And
but
laughter.
you can keep it real in a more clever way.
Oh, what? How would you describe the art of sacrificing?
How would I describe it?
Sure.
Giving oneself up for the thing that you love, i.e., the person that you love, or for what you love.
What's that exactly that you just described?
You said, how would I describe sacrifice?
You said giving yourself up for the one thing or the person that you love. That's how you would describe sacrifice, right?
Yes, and here we go.
So when you
3, 2, 1. I
help
didn't say
me,
die.
help me.
Giving up,
I mean,
giving up
you're not
self, giving up self,
you
giving
still.
up self.
Oh my
In the
God.
Bible, it says one dies to self. Yes, but I'm saying right now is give up self. Doesn't that sound better than dying?
But when you give up yourself for your, like when a mother sacrifices herself to birth the child, she does what?
Has a point of death, but you didn't say
Woo!
die. It sounds better. Mother sacrificed herself for her child.
But
Sounds better.
everybody knows that means she died.
But it sounds Jesus sacrificed his life to save our sins.
And what
Doesn't
did she do
mean
on the cross?
technically Jesus didn't die.
And I said that. I said you die to your flesh to then become what? Resurrected to something else. To be the helpmeet, the husband, the wife that God has called you to be. But it's still an act of dying to your flesh,
I just
dying
don't like the word
to
dying.
yourself, to then be resurrected to something, to the marriage, to the person that the two people need to be in the marriage. It's still
Dying just sounds scary.
it's still
Dying just sounds
I
scary.
call it
It
the
sounds.
art. Oh, that's good. That's real fancy. The art of dying.
Let's not call it that. That sounds like suicide. See, this is the word. Look at you rethinking that. She's like,
I'm just saying
You can say
that
art of sacrificing, and then in quotes
marriage,
under it, if you was clever, put dying. That would be dope.
marriage, if we go when Paul describes it, Peter talks about it, I believe John talks about it in the New Testament. When we really look at it, what are they really saying to us about marriage? I think when that's why I ask you, like, how do you bring God into your
You
relationships?
have to. There's a certain, for me anyway, there's a certain level of, I know what I'm going to get, a possibility of what I'm going to get out of a woman if she does have a relationship or a good relationship with God, or if she does pray, or if she does try to read the Bible every day, right? If she wouldn't just say, oh, there's a higher power, I have crystals. No, I know what I'm going to get from a woman who does do these certain activities. Recently, I've been shown that a lot, where the girls who have left the church, the girls who don't read the Bible that often, the girls who don't thank God for their blessings, the ones seen and unseen, the women who just, chase liquor all the time. Like, you can see a difference between the ones who truly are seeking a better future for themselves and the ones who like where they at. And a lot of that difference be a woman of faith, or a woman of or a woman who wants to build her. Like, let me just even say that, because they'll move differently. Period. So when it comes down to dating, I don't have to ask the question. I will see it in their actions. Sooner or later, they're gonna tell me, let's pray over this food, or they're gonna say, oh, thank God that I got this. Like, you know what I mean? There's certain like cues that you get from a young lady when dating in this world of if they are a woman of God or not.
Mm.
But there's that question for me is if I'm looking for a future with you, that question comes maybe first, second date. Like
So,
it might come off the first conversation. Me 2 years ago wasn't tripping.
so today you are actively seeking a young woman who is truly serving God. You're not actively seeking. Okay. But if she comes across your path, she needs to be actively seeking God.
Yeah. Or
Not
want to grow in God. Like I have to see,
sure we grow in faith. That's very true. We grow in grace.
you know what I mean? Not everybody is on our level when it comes down to Jesus. Ah, they're mumble not. Not everybody is on our level when it comes down to Jesus. It's just simple as that. He just
Okay.
got out of a meeting too.
Hi, Miles. Welcome to the chat. I'm glad you're on. We're having a
Hey
very
buddy, your beard
disgusting.
looks good, man. Welcome back from Japan. Or no, Colombia.
Appreciate it. I
Happy
appreciate it.
birthday. Happy
Thank
birthday,
you so much.
Miles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
we're already recording. We
Okay.
just got going. We're already recording. And
Gotcha.
so we're talking about God and how
We're talking about dying.
we're talking about dying and how in
Look
relationship.
how big his eyes look. Look how big his eyes got when
Jeremy,
I
you
use that
didn't give
word.
him any pretext, nothing.
That's
Okay,
because
like
right.
don't do
Dying is a
that.
scary word. Dying is a scary
It,
word.
very much so.
Sacrificing or dying, which one sounds better?
It sounds better. Sacrificing for sure.
So
So
me and
now,
my sister.
hold on, let me say this.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
now
Break
the
it down.
scripture says this, and I quoted Ephesians 5. Paul
Mm-hmm.
talks about husbands, right? Is what we're talking about because you guys are males.
Mm-hmm.
Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his very life for it. I said, Jeremy, the reality is husbands, y'all gonna have to die because as and gave his very life for it is the art of dying. That's what I said. You're
The
gonna die.
way he turned his head, I'm telling you, dying just doesn't sound good. I don't mind. Okay, hear me out. I'm not saying that we are like certain parts of you are going to die off. That's just
To
it
be
is what
what?
it
And
is.
then I said to be what? Resurrected to be the man
Yes,
that God has called you to be.
yes.
Okay.
What I was trying to say was to keep the people who don't know God like that, who don't know the Bible, who don't understand how dying has multiple definitions in the Bible. Because
Yeah.
dying isn't used to say somebody died in the Bible. There's never even like there's either you got killed in the Bible or you went through on a long sleep. Like there's dying is more
But
about the flesh
I
in the
also said
Bible.
what? Die to your flesh, you die to your soul. I said all that. You just keep saying, but you
I'm
said die to
trying
your
to
flesh.
keep.
I
I'm trying to
think
bring God to church. I'm trying to bring people to the church, Micaiah, not keep them out because we
I
talk
think
about dying.
within context, it's less scary. Especially I think within context it's definitely less scary, but at the same time, just the word death versus the word sacrifice.
See,
But I'm not saying sacrifice can't be scary too, because like sacrifice what? And like how people go about sacrificing can be the scary part of it. So
Rather just
Miles
I
doesn't
think
like
I think
any
it's more
words,
so
but
one is
yeah.
more so the word, that next one is more so the action in which like because when I think sacrifice, I think okay, I have to do something like in a certain way that follows the guideline. Whereas death, I just think of closed curtain. So that's that's I think the two
now.
for
So
me.
how do you put God into dating? You know, Jeremy gave some good points. So how do you put God into dating?
How do I put God into dating?
Yeah.
Um, through I try to like visualize my two most important factors that I try to look at within like a woman is like her ups and her downs. And I say that because like for me, like there's a time that I bought a new car and I think for like 10 days straight, anytime I got in the car, I said a prayer. Cause like I'm praying for thanking God for getting me the new car, but also praying for the protection, making sure like
Okay,
it keeps me going.
it just shut down.
Yeah, she kind of ran away when I started speaking
I
about.
don't know. Is your video chopping? No, you're fine, bro.
I
I
see
don't know
you.
what happened. Oh, you see me? The video's getting choppy though. Hold up. Hold up. Are you okay?
I had to blow my nose in peace.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm listening to
you gotta
Miles.
like you
Jimmy,
gotta drop notes or something.
Okay.
Jimmy, be quiet. Miles is
Foul host.
talking well.
Foul host. I didn't know.
Right. Right. My fault. So yeah, I measure in like the ups, the highs and lows of like within the dating world. Because as you date somebody, you get to know them. And what I mean by that is like if something good goes on, like for instance, for me, I got a new car for the first like 10 days or however so, like I would always, whenever I get in the car, I'll just pray in the car and said a prayer for protection, said a prayer of thanks, said a prayer of like um getting me from A to B for like 10 days plus. And of course, in your low times, when like words from like your friends may necessarily not hit, or words from me may not necessarily hit you, what do you do? Are you going to stay in the sunken place and like just go day by day, or understand that this may be a part of a bigger thing and you need to turn to God for your answers? So I think where I use God in dating is like seeing how you deal with these things and even guiding you towards those things myself in some senses.
I mean, that's a part of your job as a husband.
As a
You
man.
have the vision, right? And you're supposed to lead the family to what God has to bring you guys. And it's very important that as a woman that she can understand like you're the I don't say the head because people don't like that word, but that's just the reality. Like
Okay.
is you're part of being the head and we have to understand like you may have the vision. So I'm gonna switch the question around. What happens if God gives the woman the vision?
In the sense of,
Like what if God gives her the business or gives her the ministry or gives her the drive or she's the CEO?
oh, okay, well, I don't necessarily, if this is my person, I don't necessarily care. Like
Exactly.
even if it's not my person, I don't necessarily care. And like one thing that I have to come to terms with is like it's easy and we're human to always feel jealousy. Like someone may always have more than you, or be doing the exact same thing you want, or could have struggled with you in your math class and now is working at NASA. And you're like, you was just asking me for the answer. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to feel jealousy. But like one thing that I constantly tell myself is the goal has always been to, from at least for me, the goal has always been to get yourself to a certain spot to where you can take care of yourself, your family members, and your loved ones. And who am I to now be mad at anyone else or my wife who has not reached that goal? I feel like that I can't be the person. If I truly care about you, that can't be my character to not be hating on you for doing the things that you're supposed to be doing or have wanted to do for not only yourself, but for those that you love and just your dreams in general. That's always been the mission. So I think that I would be happy for that situation.
Hmm. I'm gonna flip it. So we're gonna have another
As a woman, would you want to be the CEO? Would you want to? How
Yep. I already
was
know her. Yep.
as a
That's a yes.
as a
She
woman
yes,
within
she
the
wants to be the
relationship?
boss. Yes. No, there's yes. I'm
Okay.
answering it for you, Miles. She
Okay.
doesn't
I
have to speak for that
so
one.
I have four brothers, Miles, and so our lives shape us, right? Our lives shape us to become like God puts you in specific families. For those he foreknew, he predestinated.
Yeah.
So a part of me has this strength only because I had so many goons behind me. Like I have four brothers, so my goons are behind me, right? That's what I used to call them. And so, yeah, I feel like I can conquer the world. Yeah, CEO, that's me. Sign me up.
All right.
Miles, you don't understand, bro. I'm gonna break it down to you. Most of the men Makai ever dated, she had more money than, bro.
Tell my business,
Mm.
okay?
It is what it is.
Mm.
You told my business. We telling business out here.
Now, in the real world, that can be a problem if your
Oh, it's
man
definitely a
is.
problem. I don't understand why men have problems with it. Oh my,
It's a
Miles, a
process.
dude literally like he
It's
found out
just
I got a
not.
promotion at work. He broke up with me.
Oh,
I kid you not. Scout's honor. Got ghosted.
hey, that's not the same day, right? Like maybe like later.
Like just went missing. Like you know how people just go, what they call it,
Yeah.
going ghost. Yeah.
Was this when you was at
Hmm.
Yellow and Black?
Yeah.
I'm
What?
sorry. I'm sorry that that happened to you, but I think it just comes from the fact that like
Yeah.
society just
Men
tells
pride.
men to be. I think it's
Right.
because society tells men to
That's why you
be
have to die. Okay, thank
providers and protectors. And a good way to provide and protect is through provisions and finances. And if your girl is doing that, some women will start looking at you like not a man when when times come to times.
There's different ways to provide and protect, man.
right. My thing
For
is
sure.
like you can't not
Financial,
pay the bills.
mental,
Exactly.
emotional support, like all that. It's different
Matter.
ways.
Let me
You could be a stay at
yeah,
home daddy and provide and protect.
let me tell y'all something about boss women. We want to come home and our mental be replenished because a lot of times we do all the thinking where everybody else is emotional support. So we come home. I want to be able, if I need to melt on the floor today, you got to be able to melt with me because I need emotional support today because the world has depleted my emotional intelligence today.
You know
I'm
what's crazy,
done.
Miles? My husband is making that face because
That's
But
crazy.
Look how you need to talk to some of these girls out
So, Jeremy,
here. What's up, bro?
how would you, why would you want to be in a relationship where your girl makes more than you? And if not, why?
I have no issue with being my girl, having a young lady that makes more than me in a relationship. I actually have no issue with that at all. A lot of times, especially when I first left college, a lot of girls I was talking to were making more money than me. I was broke, making 30 bands a year, broke. That was not much. So 50, 60, 70, that's off the rip more than me. Um, it made me feel a little bit insecure, though, I'll be honest about it. Like certain things, like it just made me feel like I wouldn't be able to provide for you. But I found out at the end of the day, love is love. It's going to work out regardless or not. If a young lady loves you, she wants you to be just more of that emotional support, that provider, that person she could call on when she needs something. The young man that pops over just to pray with her or something, right? Like she don't really need you to pay for anything. She just wants you around. What's better, being wanted or needed?
mm,
Mm,
I
I
think a
guess
little bit of both.
being wanted and needed than needed.
I think in a relationship, in a loving relationship and healthy relationship, being wanted
Wanted.
should be a higher priority than being needed, right? Because being needed, that's called codependency. That means you're gonna struggle when I'm not there, and that's an issue.
Hmm. Okay.
Like you shouldn't be struggling when I'm not there, right? I'm not saying everybody needs to be perfect when y'all meet up. No, but there should be a certain level, a certain base level that you come at, and that I come at, and that our both our levels increase. We increase each other
Right.
within that. Like that's what the relationship is for, is to increase each other, not for me to try to drag you along. That's not the goal.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel
So I
that.
have no issue with a young lady who's making more money or who's the boss, because at the end of the day, I need to be doing, if she's making the money, I need to be providing other things that's going to help build the house.
And the home is where, I mean, that's just what it is. Like the world is the world, but home should be your sanctuary. It should be the place where when you come home, your marriage, your house, everything is at peace, is at bay.
Yeah,
Because
but
I
it
in
think
don't be
the world,
like
you
that.
gotta understand, like the devil
It
does not
don't be
like
like that.
marriage.
I think it just depends on like it's level of maturity and depend of course depending on who your woman is for that to like go without the bumps in the road and the hiccups that I think that we deal with today, especially like with pride, because if maybe if two things, if a lot of men were confident within themselves, it wouldn't be an issue. And maybe if like
The woman can be disrespectful.
some women can be
Quite,
disrespectful when they
quite,
keep that power role. Cause
quite,
and I just think that's
quite.
like
And
I
that's why it's so important to die.
to die.
Okay, okay. Makai is throwing emphasis on this word dying. For the people in the back who don't really understand what this
I'm
dying
just
means,
joking. I'm just joking.
man. Nah, it's fine. I get it though. I get it. There's in the leadership role that I'm in recently, I found myself leaning towards anger to like to lead, right? And that's not the best way to lead anything, right? Because people above you just always want results, 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 right? And you could get results through fear and anger, but those aren't the best results, man. If you want a productive, easygoing, stress-free, wherever, You have to come in that place with love. And that goes from your job to your work
Yep.
to anything in life, in friendships, relationships, shoot, with your car. Like you have to have a certain love with anything you do to bring out the best. As simple as that.
Love covers a multitude of sin. And I think that we have, as a society, gotten away from the purity of love. I think that we have mixed love and lust. I think that we have forgotten what true love looks like. And to be honest, if you think about it, true love is sacrifice, is death. It's sacrifice. It just is.
Back to that.
I'm just saying, for
A
God
little bit of
loved the
sacrifice for sure.
world,
A little
for
bit of
God
sacrifice.
so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. It's sacrifice.
She's gonna throw emphasis on this every single time. Yes,
It
Makai.
just is. It just
Love
is.
and sacrifice.
In order for love to cover a multitude of sin, God didn't say love covers some sin. He says a multitude. That is a lot of sin to cover it. So for love to cover that much sin, like you have to have some type of grace and some type of just, I don't want to say like your heart has to, I don't want to say, it's just you have to literally like succumb to what your thought process is and really gain the mind of Christ. That is the only way you can really cover a multitude of sin. How can someone love covers a multitude? How can someone like, hey, how many times you gonna sin? Like Jesus, like
Very
when
true.
That's
God
fact.
still loves you. And
Yeah, I look at our relationship with God like a father should be with his son or a mother should be with her children.
Same.
That's how the father is. When that's where we are the first representation, or the parents in the house is the first representation of God to children anyway. So if you have terrible parents who are Christian,
the example. Right.
and they have a tendency to running away from God, right? Like if you have parents that beat the crap out of you their whole lives, drunk, and still went to church on Sundays,
You
you know what
confuse.
I mean? You're like, is this how is what God is? Is this what Jesus was like? Like, it's a bad example. So then you get people to turn away from church, and you get all other types of stuff. So we're not gonna go into that
Right.
today.
Great point.
We are having, at some point as people, we have to take a stand and say, I am not going to have hurt children, because hurt people hurt kids. Hurt people have hurt kids.
Hurt people just hurt
Reality
people.
is,
Period.
exactly. So reality is, you have to take a stand within yourself to say, no, the generational curses stop with me.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to church. I'm going to get delivered. I'm going to do my part. So that way, when I birth my kids, they will be healthy, abiding children of God. And that's just the reality. But it takes something within you to say, something is wrong with me, that
I'm
my life
starting
is
with
not
the
progressing,
man in the mirror.
or my life
Oh
is not going the way I need it to go, or
yeah.
my
I
life,
can think
God,
and
I feel like
change
something
his
is off with me,
way.
that I need some help. And that
Mm,
starts with that starts with you being self-aware. Self-awareness is key.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Dude,
And I do feel
Maslow
like
hierarchy of needs.
it's a lot of people that these days are running from, like I've heard so many like people or women specifically be like, I don't want to be a mother because of how my mother did X, Y, Z. And it's like,
Yep.
I'm not going to knock you for it, but that's just a pure example of those running away from the bad that they've seen, instead of finding out, okay, or taking a deep dive into it and being like, okay, this was wrong of her, but I can be the change, and doing the work themselves to kind of see that. Not saying that everybody is
Change.
built to be a mother or father or whatever it is that you may be trying to do, but just trying to see the light outside of your own little closed view within the perspective that you were first given. So I definitely get that. I do see a lot of people running away though. A lot running away.
I do run away.
With growth, and with change. And of course, I relate everything from the spiritual world to the physical world, right? When you're a kid and you're growing and you're changing, it's painful. Miles, did your knees and shoulders and ankles ache when you was in high school and trying to get taller and play sports?
Yeah, but I'm not that tall, so not too much pain.
I'm sorry. But the example
Jeremy,
is,
nobody understands your pain, okay?
as long as you're continuing to grow and change, you will have pain.
Oh, he
It
said
is
that.
just a given fact. Same thing with muscle, same thing with working out. Same thing with trying to eat right. There's going to be a level of dying that you're going to have to do when it comes down to change. And that's the part that everybody's afraid of. People aren't afraid to change if it was a pleasant experience. It's not. A lot of times it's not. Sometimes it is. A lot of times, especially at the beginning of things, it's not. It's always a hard hill to climb. But once you get the ball rolling, that hill becomes a lot flatter and it plateaus. And sooner or later it becomes downhill. And
But I
that
feel,
kind of goes back to what's up?
no, I was gonna say, like, I feel like people kind of, some people get crucified for changing, and I feel like they get crucified by the people that don't change.
Change the circle to
Exactly.
Pete, like, I think for Jay-Z, for example, like he was saying, like he promised that the money wouldn't change him, but he would have. You can't be the same person with that type of fight. You can't be the same person and expect to walk into this door, this room, and this room because you're gonna get eaten alive as that same person. That person
Do
doesn't
you
exist.
think Drake has changed?
Do I think Drake has changed?
Yeah.
Are we really? Really?
Cody?
Really? No.
Have you been
We're not
hearing the
doing
beef? My sister doesn't listen to hip hop, bro.
no,
She don't know the beef that's
The
going on in
beef
the
gotta
is
world right
change.
now.
Gotta
the beef is crazy. The beef is
The
crazy.
beef is crazy, Makai. They call Drake BBL Drizzy.
It's crazy. Yeah, this unlike him to be losing like this, but at the
I'm sorry, Makai.
same time, he lost to Pusha T, so this is just number two, and it's
Makai has nothing. She has no clue what you're talking about, bro.
oh really? Oh damn.
I tell you,
By any chance,
she's
did
I'm,
you
not
ever
tapped in
listen to
like
Drake?
that.
I'm you can catch
She
me
used to.
2016. I think Legend. It's the last album.
That's last time she was in college, bro. Was
I
2016.
was college.
Okay, but yeah,
It's that.
even to that song, he was like a lot more melodies, a lot more singing and things like that. And these days, it's not too much more singing. He's
He trying to act tough.
it's like Drake slash gangster slash, and it's like Drake, you were
So
on the
Kendrick
ground
Lamar's been calling him out, Micaiah.
Who?
high key.
Kendrick Lamar, you know who Kendrick Lamar is.
Said who?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A
Okay.
man of faith. Actually, he's actually
No one pray
a
for me.
strong man of faith.
Yeah, okay, I know that song. Let me ask y'all a question.
Okay.
This is real.
Timon.
Why? Okay. Do you feel like abstaining from sex
Oh,
allows you, okay, to love better?
tell the difference between lust and love, man. You could be horny one night and be like, I want you around. But in reality, if you're not lusting after that girl, do you really want her around?
I think it definitely clears the mental. Like it definitely allows you to think with every other emotion outside of the physical, which I think as men is great because a lot of men just be thinking with
With a DICKS,
dick.
Micaiah.
Like that makes some of the worst decisions. Some of these decisions hurt others. Some of these decisions cause babies. Some of these decisions cause so many things.
They
And it's
cause pain. A
like,
lot of
pain.
decisions cause pain.
Yeah, pain to others when it could have been as simple as I'm just horny, bro. Let me just relax. Let me just calm down. Let me just, you know what I'm saying? Let me just take a cold shower. Let me drink some cold water. Just chill out for a second.
Facts.
Yeah.
Two, like if knowing the difference, keep abstaining from sex with a young lady. You really get to know her and her true character and who
Very
she
true.
is, right? B, if let's say she is a sexually active person and you're telling her, I would like to go celibate with you, and she decides to hop on that train with you, that might be a keeper for real. C, which lets you give you inkling of who she is and how and her level of faith again, especially if you're saying like the reason is, I'm trying to look for my wife, so I want to have a clear mind. I don't want to complicate things, and I'm a man of God, yada yada, right? But if a young lady says she has an issue with you abstaining, then maybe that's not the one for you. I'm not saying that it's not going to work out, but I'm saying there's a better possibility of you filtering women and their mindsets by even bringing that up in conversation on the first date.
Let's
Very true.
let's
I
talk
feel
about
like
that. How do y'all think women mindsets are now?
Didn't we talk about this last episode?
Not really, but you keep bringing a mindset. You keep talking about that today. So how do you think our mindsets are? Do you think in this day and age, women are capable of being, listen to this adjective, effective wives?
Mm.
Effective wise, ooh, with a big
What is an effective wife? Just so I know what it is that we
Take
are.
it from a biblical standpoint. This is Valley tabletop. We're gonna go back to the Bible. Okay? Every time
why
we're
is she
going back to
banging
the
on her
Bible.
table?
Okay?
Okay.
Back to the Bible.
Don't
Back,
break my laptop.
back to the Bible.
Really?
So do you guys think that as women we are able to be effective wives?
Are we that we're able to? I think they're able to. However,
Comma.
want to is the question.
Is the question.
I don't feel like a lot of women want to
Let
be
me
that because even in you saying that, I think there was a term that you said earlier. And you have to switch it because like when you say it, some people take it the wrong way. And I feel like women take some
I was talking about the head. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the head, there we go.
Right.
Like 'cause that means like I'm behind somebody. I don't want gotta be behind nobody. Who gonna lead? Like, you know what I'm saying? There'd be things like that, that power clash or that power struggle. And it's like, I don't think that's what it's supposed to be.
I think
So
there is some type, there is an act of humbleness and grace that women were supposed to have. There is a type of, I don't want to say bow, but Esther had to cook
that's
a man a whole meal and say
that's
if it pleases the king to get him to do what she need him to do. So it's some type of humbleness, and I don't want to say bow down because that's not a good word, but it's like you kind of have to to get what you need.
I don't feel like a lot of women want to do that. And maybe I'm not going to just shoot at them because maybe they have not met good candidates to bow down or submit or whatever word you want to use. Maybe they have not been around good candidates to
Humble.
trust that, you know what I'm saying? Trust them with their leadership. But yeah, yeah, scary times. Scary times. Scary times for sure.
Jeremy.
what? Listen, at the end of the day, like we discussed before, as a man, we have to provide a certain level, base level, for a young lady to come at a base level for a relationship to work. As simple as that, right? You want a woman that's going to cook and clean, okay? You better make sure her closet's full and her house is taken care of, right? Like there's certain things that if you want something from a young lady, you have to provide a certain base level. I'm not, I hate to say it, it's very contractual, it sounds like, but in reality, that's what a marriage is. It's a covenant, it's a contract, it's a spiritual contract. It's something that we both decided on together that what we're gonna do, right? I might not be the best with cars. If my wife's good with cars, she's gonna go work on cars. What I'm gonna do in the house? Probably cook. I don't know, but there's certain levels of things that are given, and I feel like a lot of times nowadays women hate hearing like or hate feeling like they're behind somebody, or they don't like hearing that they're alone in the situation because I'm somewhere XYZ. They don't want to feel like, but in that same breath, they don't want to feel like they're not needed because they still want to be needed. But that's anybody in a relationship. Um, but then when like a good example would be I was dating this young lady and every time we got in a crowd, right? Either she would move forward, but she didn't know where we was going or what we were trying to do, so she would get lost and like stop and panic. So then I would get in front of her, holding her hand, but then she didn't want to be like left behind, and she didn't want to feel like she was being lost in the crowd. So then she'll move next to me. But when she moved next to me, now we bump into so many other people. I'm like, bro, if you just follow behind me, we could go where we need to go sooner.
Mm.
Jeremy, you said something very profound. It's something that we need to work on a little bit better is knowing how to play each other's strengths and use that to grow our relationships. I think a lot of times that we forget that, your spouse, you guys should be something called equally yoked. And that means in the places that you are weak, he should be strong. And those places that where he's weak, you should be strong. And like you said, if my wife's gonna go, if she's better at fixing cars and you go work on the cars, I'll cook dinner tonight. It's that give and take. If your wife can go and attack the demons in the spiritual realm, all right, babe, I'm gonna fast with you, but I'm gonna be right there with you because with two touch three thing, but you need to pray. Okay, it's knowing how to balance each other's strengths to be successful in the relationship. I do agree with that. That's a very,
Truly a divine covenant. Like,
it really is. And that's why
my
the word
question.
says, when
Oh,
God puts two together, shall no man break them apart, because that's that that covenant is so strong. It's because God knows, okay, you're weak here, because he doesn't look at the words out your mouth. He's looking at that heart. What's wrong with your heart? And it's very important.
but I
But go
don't
ahead.
think that people try to do the teamwork aspect, because it's definitely a teamwork situation. Like, I think people just look at, sometimes maybe just men too, because again, maybe society has plagued us by telling us you're not worth anything unless you do certain or make a certain amount or whatever the case. But lo and behold, you are not your salary. You can be so much more to your wife based on the fact that, okay, maybe she makes the money, but she's not as organized as you, or she as organized, but she's not a prayer warrior like you,
Mm-hmm.
or she can cook, but maybe the kids just like how you do something. You know what I'm saying? And people don't really like take note in the fact of, as long as we can wove our hands like this and be in sync, it really doesn't matter what society tells you versus how good we are as a team.
That's very true, Mel. That's a good point. I mean, it's not about you anymore, and this is where you die. It's about us.
Where you die. Yep.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the point. That's where important is. Like,
Where you die.
it's about us. It's about what's best for us, what's best for our team. I mean, for example, when I was, like Jeremy said, making my money and doing what I was doing, a lot of it was my mom. We had a really good relationship. Okay, I would always bring home the food, right? She never had to worry about the food or anything like that. But guess what? When she went to the grocery store, she made sure all of my toiletries was taken care of, so I wouldn't have to worry about going to the grocery store for that.
Mhm.
So you do have to find that balance. If for example, one of my exes, he was the better organizer. I can't listen. The way my brain works, if it's not organized chaos, something is wrong in my mind. Something is lost. I need organized chaos. But he was a better organizer. So please just organize stuff. And so I used to throw this clothes to him in the suitcase, and he would fold them up and organize them in the suitcase, because that suitcase is gonna be all over the place. I can't do that. I can't do
Mm.
that. So you have to find what works best for your relationship. I agree. So one piece of advice for a young man, he's 21, he just graduated from college. What would you tell him
For about what? What are
about
we discussing?
about what we're discussing?
Women and dating and Jesus.
Yep.
Keep God first. Don't have sex. I know it sounds easy, but it's
Wait,
quite
wait.
difficult.
Is that the
And
end of the
for a
sentence?
young man,
That's all you telling them?
hey, bro, for a young man in his 20s, dude,
You're
I
not gonna
think
give him no
that's a
explanation. You go, hey, buddy, keep God first. Don't have sex. Walk the other way. All right,
everything else, bro. I
I
promise
know.
you, everything else will fall in place, man. I feel like
look,
for a young man, it's difficult to do those two things, especially when you're trying to find your footing in the world. Especially when that first check hit, is like some serious money. When you get out of college, when you get out of this structured day to day, it's different. It's different when you just have a 9 to 5 or you do a 3 to 12. Like when you have those basic hours, you get off, you got all this extra time now. You don't know what to do with it. You wake up at a daily schedule. Like it's different. Your weekends are free. You, it's easy for you to fall prey to the world because it's so available, right? You can wake up and go on your internet and do anything. Social media, people hit their social media as soon as they wake up before they go to sleep. It's so easy to fall prey to the world. But if you keep, uh, once again, God first in all your ways, and read your Bible daily, pray to Him daily, fast, um, all that good stuff, then you're good. But then when you're also in this world, the reason why I say abstaining from sex is because you have that tendency of falling and chasing women, right? And when I was in high school, ninth grade, dudes asked me if I lost my virginity yet. Like, why is that a subject of discussion the first time you meet me? Like, and that's the thing. Like, we get pushed on that so heavy when we're young. So to tell them like not to do it is going to be completely mind changing for them. But at the end of the day, it keeps your mind so clear. I'm not saying like not have fun, but avoid situations and predicaments as you can. And those two right there, I promise you, I'll be in a way better place if I would have kept God first and not have sex.
Well said. Well said.
Just keep your mind clear. I agree. I don't be.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it really like I hate to say
It
it. Like
does.
I
It
hate
keeps
to
your
say
mind
fog your mind, but I
clear.
hate to say it.
Them
Yeah.
soul ties is real. I don't know who
It's
lied.
real.
They real. Every last y'all who have a 300 body count, because men done told me that before. Them soul ties is real.
300 crazy.
That is kind of
Heard
crazy.
that. Several men.
Um,
Them
I
soul ties
mean,
is
That's a
real.
lot of, that's a lot of work. A
it
lot of work.
is. Niggas be tired. I don't know how. I don't know.
300 is a lot of hip thrust. Pause, but
I work out too much. I work too much and work out too much. I be too tired.
that's crazy.
Now, what would you say to
Um,
your 21-year-old? You just met him in the street.
mm,
Oh, you didn't tell me I just met him in the street. I thought this was my son or something.
okay. I would say build your foundation now and build it with God. Um, like similar to what Jamie said, like keep God first and always try your hardest to be a man of integrity, be a man of honesty, be a man of just upright values because there's not too much that can be against a righteous man. There's not too much that can take a righteous man down. You know what I'm saying? So build that foundation as early as possible so that you can continue to develop within that and not have to try to find that when you're 30s or late 40s or trying to make up for mistakes from the early 20s. And then continue to find self, like search for yourself and find yourself at all times. I feel like people sometimes maybe get into relationships without knowing themselves. 5 years later, be like, oh, you changed. Lo and behold, it's been you who changed because you didn't know who you were in the beginning. Or if you knew who you were in the beginning, maybe you would tell yourself, this is not the relationship for me. Or this is not the career path for me. Or I should not be around these sets of groups of people because I know better. But I think that just comes with knowing ourselves. And sometimes we don't give ourselves grace.
Mm.
Um, and sometimes we don't give others grace of knowing who they are or knowing where they are within their lives. But I would tell myself to constantly seek and find yourself, know who you are, so you can navigate with a clear mind.
I
So
think if you know who you are, it's easier to give grace.
I'm trying to tell you.
Very true.
Then I dap
Self
that up. I
actualization.
dap him up. I would give him like $10, push his
$10.
head.
That's
Go
crazy.
ahead somewhere, little boy.
Cheapo, okay?
$10 is crazy.
He'll look at me like, that's all we got. That's all we that's
For
Exactly.
a Chick-fil-A meal. What did you talk about now?
$10.
that's
Hey, two
good.
chicken sandwiches. Two
That's
chicken
as good as we
sandwiches,
got.
solid.
That's as good as we doing right now.
Had two chicken
Gentlemen,
sandwiches sound good.
thank you for an exciting conversation, okay? I love y'all and I'll see y'all next time.